Basic filters are used to refine the selector match result set. Note the syntax. The filter is preceded by a colon and usually follows the basic selector. The first basic filter we will look at is the equals filter. It filters for the element in the selector match result set that equals the index passed in. For example, div::eq paren 2 and paren selects all divs in the document and filters to subselect only the third div in the match set. Note that jQuery uses the JavaScript zero-based index system, starting with index 0, hence div index 0 is the first div in the match set. Div index 1 is the second, and div index 2 is the third. Here's an example of a statement we have used in prior videos that has been adapted for a filter. It selects for divs, filters for the div at index 2, adds class 3, and removes class 2. It is a standard selector, filtered. There are other zero-based index filters in jQuery. LT filters for elements in the match result set with an index less than the passed-in index. GT filters for elements in the match result set with an index greater than the passed-in index. Even or odd filters for elements in the match result set that have even indices or odd indices. Very useful for alternating classes. First filters for the first element of the match selector result set, and last filters for the last element of the match selector result set. Focus can be used to select the element currently in focus. Focus should be preceded by a selector so that the entire DOM tree does not have to be searched. Note the jQuery API page for focus stats-selector. It has a very useful script in the example section for toggling classes based on focus. The header filter selects for all header tags, and the animated tag will be discussed when we look at design with CSS and jQuery. Finally, the not filter is a useful tool for selecting everything except the filtered selector. Note the examples. Not div.class1 will select all except the divs with class 1, and not div::p will select all except the div and p elements. The not filter is usually preceded by a basic selector. Use the not method for complex selections. We have set up some examples in the browser. The first page is the base page. Using Web Inspector, we can see that the base page does not have any jQuery code yet. There are two classes, class 4 and class 5 in the style tag. In the HTML, all the divs have class 4. The first example uses the equals filter, passing in index 2 and calling the add class 5 and remove class 4 functions. Note that the third div has the class change from class 4 to class 5. The third div is the div index 2. All the other divs have class 4. The rendered page shows the third div style change. The next example has the first filter. Note that the first div has the class change from class 4 to class 5. All the other divs have class 4. The rendered page shows the first div style change. The next example has multiple filters. The first filter and the greater than filter, greater than index 4. Note that the first div and the divs with indices 5 through 8 have the class change from class 4 to class 5. All the other divs have class 4. The rendered page shows the first div and divs 6 through 9 style change. The last example has the odd filter. Note that the second div with index 1, the fourth div with index 3, the sixth div with index 5, and the eighth div with index 7 all have the class change from class 4 to class 5. All the other divs have class 4. The rendered page shows the odd filter style changes. In the next video, we will look at attribute filters as well as a few other filters for more granular filtering.